Now from there we wanted to talk about the history of Camp Maple Leaf. It had to start somewhere, then it had to have a journey, and now it is where it is today. So what would that look like?
So Camp Maple Leaf was started in 1955 by a group of World War II veterans who called themselves the Canadian Council of War Veterans. They were an amalgamation of a number of smaller veterans organizations in the Niagara Peninsula area, Hamilton area, and they thought that they could do a give back by having a camp for what were then called underprivileged children, and that's in their original mission. So they raised some money and found a site on Pigeon Lake that in the Kawarthas on the Trent Severn system, and the site was a tourist resort on the Trent, and they purchased the site. It's a 100-acre island, over 100-acre island, right on the main channel of the Trent on Pigeon Lake, and the Canadian Council of War Veterans ran Camp Maple Leaf until the early 90s, and as you can imagine, World War II veterans by the early 90s were kind of running out of steam a bit, and and so they found an organization in the Hamilton area called Banyan Community Services, who primarily provided programming for inner city children and families in the Hamilton area, and Banyan took over the operation at Camp Maple Leaf, and they operated it until 2014. They decided that they weren't going to operate it anymore, and my foundation, I'm the owner and operator of a summer camp for girls in Algonquin Park called Camp Tanamacoon. And Tanamacoon just finished its 95th summer in Algonquin. We have a little foundation that I started about 15 years ago that donates to women's and children's charities. And as we went through that process with our foundation, we found smaller groups of children who would like to go to camp together, with children with unique needs, and but didn't have their own camp and weren't ever going to have their own camp, and didn't have quite the profile of some of the other major groups of children with unique challenges. So the idea that I had was to have a camp where those children could come to camp and their organization, and they would know that the third week of July every year, that's our camp, and that's when we go to camp, and that would help the organization promote camp for their children, and it would help the organization who aren't camping professionals. We would provide camp, and each organization would provide the children and their expertise, their professional expertise if needed, and so it would be a great match. And I've been fortunate that camp has been a great central part of my life, my whole life, and it was a great give back spot for me as what IT Force is doing is what IT Force is doing for 1,000. That's a big number for 1,000.
It's a big one.
It is a big number. So that's how Camp Maple Leaf was taken over by our charity. I was fortunate enough to be able to have April Young hired as our first employee, and she's been without peer in her field, and she has in large part built most of the camp and its program and its following, and we've been very lucky to be able to work with her. So and Camp Maple Leaf continues to grow. We have we're serving 9 different children's populations with unique challenges now. 9, am I right? Yes.
9 different.
Yes, 9 different ones. So it's been
You're going to run out of weeks.
Well, we have
That's
some,
another story.
Some sharing. We have some sharing.
Okay,
we do have some sharing. But so that's a little bit about it. So the camp is owned by the Camp Tanamacoon Charitable Foundation.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wonderful.